Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wist. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Hello, Alba Sotorra. Please
Hello.
tell me, hello. Tell me why you wanted to make The Return, Life After ISIS.
I wanted to make this film because after being in Syria shooting for more than 3 years while I was doing my previous film, I was very keen to see on how Kurdish women who had been suffering the violence from ISIS for many years in their own skin, how they will be able to deal with the aftermath of this war that meant for them having to take care of thousands of women and children that came from these ISIS territories, that were part of this ideology. So, because I have a lot of Kurdish friends, and even Serinaz, which is the woman who's giving the workshop, she's a colleague, I found it that I really wanted to follow the experience of this workshop and try to see how they will cope with together, how the Kurdish woman will interact with women that were coming from ISIS, and I found it very brave from the Kurdish woman that they were able to open a dialogue with the ones who had been their enemies, and I found it inspiring. So this is why I was interested in this workshop.
How emotionally difficult was shooting as well as editing this project?
It was really difficult, not only for me, but especially for our crew, because we were a mixed crew. We were an all-female crew. Half of us were Catalan from Barcelona, and the other half were were Kurdish. In the beginning, our idea was to focus more on the Kurdish woman and on the process of the workshop. And for all of us, like me myself, I have lost friends during the war against ISIS, so we had a lot of mixed feelings when we entered the camp, and whether it was, when we started to interact, like it was even hard first to trust what the women were saying, and for the women in the camp, it was also difficult to open up to us, and they were cold. We all were a bit cold to each other. But since we had time, and as time passed, and the process of the workshop was very interactive. There were games, there were moments where we will eat together, so that like these first boundaries, these first walls, that they started to fall, and we started to create this real connection, and we started to listen at each other, and that was also through the process of making the film, that the focus of the film changed, and instead of focusing only on the Kurdish woman, I started to get very interested in the personal stories of the women participating in the workshop.
Was it hard to develop sympathy for the woman who fell for the scam that is ISIS?
Actually, when you meet them and when you realize each woman has a different story, and in the case of the woman that participated in our workshop, I'm sure there are women that still feel for the ideology of ISIS. There were in the camp, we know there were, but it was not the case of the woman that we met, that they were in the workshop, and when you really feel a genuine that they genuinely regret the decision they took, and that they realize it was a real mistake, and that they understand also the consequences of what they did, and that they are ready to accept them, and that they are ready to take responsibility, then, there is a problem. We have to find a solution, and the solution cannot be, let's eliminate them. Let's just forget about them. These persons exist, and somebody needs to take responsibility. And I don't think this responsibility should be taken by the Kurdish because they are there. It's the responsibility of our governments to decide. To bring these women back and to work for their reintegration, and also because it's like, if we, at the end, is an issue of security and peace, and I don't think it's safe to just don't do anything and leave them there. I don't think it's safe for anybody. I think the safe if we want to be safe and if we want to feel secure, we need to try to understand what happened, try to understand how these networks work, try to try to learn from the experience of this woman, and then try to prevent that these things don't happen again. And prevention only comes from knowledge and understanding, and I think these women are key to understand what happened and then try to work for that this doesn't happen again.
What was your emotional goal with the documentary?
I think, yes, creating empathy, but because I think that sometimes you need to look, I mean, you need to look at things from different perspectives to have an overview, no? And I think the media had been only one-sided, like it's only hate. And I think that hate doesn't solve anything. Anger doesn't solve anything. I think that if you need to listen to somebody else, you need to try to, to be open to feel for the other person and what that person has gone through, and try to understand what are the reasons behind the decisions they take, and then it's about also being able to forgive. Asking yourself, are you able to forgive? Are you able to give a second chance? Are you able to accept back somebody who made a mistake?
I felt as a viewer there was sort of a morally ambiguous journey throughout the documentary, because as you say, at first you're kind of like, well, forget these women, and then you see their faces and you hear them talk, and then it's hard not to feel any empathy. But I also did at the end sort of felt like, you kind of did what you did, and you should go with some consequences. And I'm just curious, were there other emotionally ambiguous maybe documentaries that inspired the documentary in any way?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's emotionally ambiguous, because I think that it positions itself, the documentary. I think that the documentary starts. What I tried to do with the film is to try to follow my arc and how I felt, and also Sabina's arc, and how. So from a point of view in which you are a bit more confrontational, and then to then ask yourself, or not only like all the media archive that go through the film start being more confrontational, to at the end being more in the position of accepting them back, no? So I think that and the fact, when I say accept the consequences of your acts, I don't think I'm being ambiguous, but what I'm trying to say is that accepting this woman back is not about saying, okay, no, nothing happened, just come back. No, it's about, okay, you have done a mistake. You need probably maybe to be trialed. Maybe you need to be back, go through a program. You need to take responsibility in the sense that now you maybe own something back to your community. You need to help with information, with your experience. No, I think it's about this, what I was trying to say. And regarding if I got inspired from other documentaries, I watch a lot of films that I like, but I'm not sure if I don't have a reference that I will point for this film.
Yeah,
I don't
fair enough. Please tell me about your other documentary work.
My previous film is very linked to this film because I made a film about a woman commander from the Kurdish forces that was fighting against ISIS. And it was through that film that I shot from 2015, 2018, that I spent a lot of time in northeastern Syria, in the Kurdish part. And I spent a lot of time, I followed the war against ISIS through the front lines, and I was part of a battalion. So I'm not naive to what ISIS means. I mean, I lived with this woman, with the Kurdish woman, the atrocities that ISIS did. I've seen the destruction they've caused in cities, and I've seen the killings. I've seen hundreds of bodies piled in villages, and I think that film also triggered a lot this other film. And then I've done another film about a young boy that was here in Catalonia, near Barcelona. It's about a young boy. It's called Game Over. And it's about a young boy that is obsessed with war since he's a kid. And it all starts with playing toys, guns, like toy guns. And then as he grows, these games start to become more sophisticated, and he starts dressing himself as if he was a military person and buying these guns, like airsoft guns, until the moment. But he's all about filming himself, like playing the hero, to the point that he decides to go to Afghanistan and he enrolls himself in the war. And then he discovers the real war, but he still has his camera and he films that in the real war to discover that. I mean, he goes back home and lives forever anything related to the war.
Would you make a feature narrative movie about ISIS?
I'm not sure. I've seen already things done that are very good. I've seen this series, The Caliphate. I think it's done by Swedish or I don't know, some Scandinavian, and it's very well done. I think they portray very well and I've seen also this other very beautiful film, Hannah. It's a feature fiction from maybe, I don't know which country, maybe Germany or Germany, I guess. Yeah. No, maybe if I do a feature, like a narrative feature, it will be from a different topic because this I've explored it through documentary already. Yeah.
Yeah. You've had enough of it. You're sick of it, probably. So, in your mind, how do we avoid like the next ISIS as a society?
For me, yeah. It's difficult, but I think it's about working a lot on prevention. I think that we need to work, not we, like women, like the woman in the film, they are key for preventing because they can, I think that there is a lot, we need to do a lot of work in neighborhoods, within communities to do work on detecting who are the vulnerable persons that can fall into these traps, into these networks. And it's basically about showing, like, I don't know, I think I don't know if even the film can be a tool. There are many tools that you can show to vulnerable people to say, hey, think well before taking a decision because it's not all what it seems. It's not, but it's a very difficult. It's a very difficult. Yeah.
For sure. What was the most rewarding thing about making this project?
I felt very happy when they watched it and they liked the film. I think that's always when you make a film about a character-based film. It's the biggest fear is that the protagonists don't like it, and so they loved it a lot. And at the moment, they see it as a hope for them, because it's being very hard through the judiciary system to fight their cases, and maybe if public opinion is not so against them, they can have more chances to return and get back their lives. And then also I've been asked from some organizations that if they can show the film to families that have their kids there in the camps, Western families. So, and I also think it's rewarding that the film can help them and with to cope with the trauma of having a kid that had went to ISIS and now it's trapped in a camp, and you have grandchildren that you don't know, and so, and if this film helps to change the narrative, that will be the most rewarding.
Well, Alba, thanks for your time. Before I let you go, please tell me what it means to have your documentary included in South by Southwest.
Wow, this is amazing. This is super amazing because it's an amazing platform to promote the film, and it's a place where you can have, apart from a lot of people watching it during the festival, also the attention from media that will talk about the topic of the film. And at the end, we make films so they can be seen, and that's the perfect platform to have your film released.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you.